Hey, how's it going? Hope you are doing well. This is kind of crazy. If you, read the title, 10 years, I literally started making year-end mashups when I was 14. And now I'm 23 and I am like an adult and it's wild. I was in middle school when I made my first one. And I'm just so thankful for the ride that this has been. I'm so thankful for all of you, even if you have been here since the beginning or like joined a year ago. And I kind of wanted to make this video to celebrate all of that. I was kind of reflecting with it being my 10th year, like where do I want to go from here? Let's see what the second decade of Adamusic brings. But if you are somewhat new, think of this as in everything you missed on Glee. That's the best way I can think to describe it. So while this year will be my 10th Adamusic year end, my first one came out on a little channel called Super Scream Rock. If you remember that, you're an OG. But it came out when I was 14. I was in middle school. Wild. I used a Windows laptop. I think it was running Vista. It wasn't even running Windows 7 64. What's Microsoft called anymore? I use Mac now. I'm so sorry. I was just so inspired by, people like DJ Earworm and Daniel Kim, who made Pop Anthology, to, take the deep dive and actually try it out. Because I had been watching these year ends for so many years and they were so elaborate and complex and cool and they all flowed. It was something I had just like never experienced before and I was like, I am going to make it. And I did, to the best of my ability at the time. Yeah, you can tell it was made in 11 days and, I would like to think a few of the ideas were good. I had to start somewhere. But, through that process, I got to learn, how do keys relate between songs? Like, what do I have to pitch up and down, tempo-wise? How do I get things to be in the same tempo? How do I align the structure correctly so the verse lines up with the verse and not the chorus and the bridge and, and all these things that you don't really at first think about. After that, I kind of kept going hard with releasing mashups on the Super Scream Rock channel. Things started to pick up a little bit with that channel, but as that happened, so did the copyright. If you were posting on YouTube between 2014 and 2016, you deserve a medal because, oh my God, they were cutthroat. I posted like a 5-second clip of a Taylor Swift song, immediately striked, to the point that I was just like, I will say the copyright system has gotten a lot better nowadays. I rarely, if ever, get strikes, but I got so many at the end of 2015 that my whole channel got terminated, which for 15-year-old me, who had been posting for a year straight and was super proud, it was like the most gut-wrenching thing. I thought I would, never come back. I thought, this was the end for me. And then it actually kind of ended up being the best thing that could have happened in a weird way. Because right after I started my second channel, Super Scream Rock 2... if you know, you know. Things picked up a lot, actually. I made a mashup of Same Old Love by Selena Gomez and Sorry by Justin Bieber. And it was during the peak, Jelena propaganda time. It was all over the internet. And the mashup kind of leaned into that. So, it was getting reposted a bunch by, all these quirky Twitter and Tumblr accounts, which was really cool at the time. I, remember it happening. I remember being in youth group or something, and I kept getting notifications from Twitter, and I was like, what is going on? But that ended up happening kind of at the same time as my year end was coming out for 2015. And it was basically like a perfect storm because the engagement and views from that mashup helped then propel my year end to the point that it's still my most viewed one I've ever released, which I'm still so grateful for, especially being a 15-year-old and making music and just having that validation that this thing I was putting out on the internet, even if it wasn't my original music, but it was something I was proud of, and getting that reception was it meant the world, and it still does. And everything kind of picked up here. This was kind of the catalyst for my growth and my success as a content creator, as a YouTuber, as a mashup artist, if you will. I don't think I would be where I am if those events didn't happen. But over the next few years, I just kept releasing year ends, summer mashups, artist mega mixes like my Ariana Grande one, Katy Perry one, which we will be coming back to. And I started making some vlog content kind of like this, or commentary, but it was so rough. I privated so many of those videos because,
hey guys, as some of you may know, into a lot of people give me crap for using Ariana Grande or Fifth Harmony. It's gonna be a little while because I'm trying to figure this all out. To begin with, because his year ends were very amazing. Chris.
I gotta give myself grace for being 15, but oh my god. Even the ones from when I was like 18 are still just the most cringy thing. Hopefully I don't look back at this video in 10 years and be like, what was I thinking? Because with my track record, in 2017, I hit 100,000 subscribers, which was the wildest experience, getting the 100K plaque, especially as a sophomore in high school and even now today. It's still like, you can never conceptualize numbers. If you don't see it, it doesn't really register in your brain. Having that physical thing, this is like an award. This is, you did this, congrats, was like mind-boggling for me. Around that same time, I actually decided to change my name from Super Scream Rock 2 to Adamusic, which, kind of came down to me, one, growing out of Super Scream Rock. It wasn't a super professional name, especially if I wanted to keep this going. I wanted a name that more felt like me, which is evident today that I'm glad I changed my name. But the name Adamusic actually came from when I was like 6 or 7, because my dad showed me GarageBand when I was like a little child. I barely knew what music was, and I was on GarageBand like playing around with loops and stuff, and I would make these little albums, and I would call them Adamusic, with the M being shared between Adam and music. So backstory, that's where the name comes from. But the M is shared. My name is not Ada. It is Adam. It's just one M. 2017 also marked the first time I ever got a professional job making a mashup, and that was with Capitol Records. They saw my Katy Perry mega mix I did. They hired me to do a mega mix of Katy Perry's Witness album, which I was 16 at the time. I can't imagine how my emails sounded. Like, I hope I acted accordingly, because getting a job like that at that age is really hard to conceptualize. And after 2 or 3 years of making mashups, to have like an actual artist, an actual label reach out to me, send me the official, instrumental and a cappella files and like all this stuff. It was a super rewarding process, and it was cool to know that I could be trusted professionally with a job like that. And if they ever want to hit me up again, you didn't for Smile, but hopefully KB6 is coming soon. Gosh. But simultaneously, while I was making these mashups, I was also heavily kind of involved with music outside of that and YouTube, because I was doing choir, band, I was in musical theater, and I started dipping my toes kind of into the live sound scene through that. With doing musical theater, I started doing the soundboard for like the musicals and the plays at my high school and my local community theater, which then that actually kind of led to me DJing my high school dances 3 times, by the way. Again, who put their trust in me? I wasn't even DJing. It was a Spotify playlist. It was a literal Spotify playlist. I would pre-make like 25-minute long mixes with like 7 to 8 songs that all transitioned into each other. And I would pre-make these mixes because I didn't know how to do it on the fly. I didn't know what a DJ controller did. I don't usually say that that was my first time DJing, because it really wasn't, because I really wasn't DJing. But there was kind of a lot of things happening at that time that all kind of led to me wanting to just pursue music. Between mashups, live sound, DJing, I learned that a lot of these things could go hand in hand. Learning and studying music could help my mashups, but making mashups could also kind of help my musicality and creativity. I would say that around that time was also when I first started producing. I got like a little keyboard, got a beat pad, finally downloaded Ableton, I think illegally at the time. I own it now, but I don't think I actually bought it at that time. But between producing and making mashups and doing live sound, it all kind of culminated into me deciding to pursue music production for my higher education. Once I graduated high school in 2019, I then made the decision to move out to LA to study music production and recording, which was a huge step for me, especially growing up in Michigan. It was definitely a big change, but it was something I really wanted to do, just to be in this hub of music and art and creativity. But even during my schooling, I was still continuing to grow with mashups, still making more mega mixes. I hit 500K. Wild. That 500K mega mix is still like one of my favorites too. And through my music production studies, I was able to apply so much of it to making mashups. Just like how to mix a song helps so much when making a mashup. Knowing what EQ means, what compression means, how to use it to your advantage. 2020 specifically birthed a lot when it came to me and my content. Quarantine gave me, everyone else on this earth, a ton of extra time. And I started live streaming, which was really fun, especially during that summer when I had all the time in the world, and I would go live multiple times a week and make mashups on streams and review them, and it was a really fun time. I still wish I could kind of go back to that schedule, but it's just like I just don't have that time that I did in quarantine where I could do that regularly. But 2020 also kind of marked my beginning with TikTok. Some of you may actually have originally found me on TikTok and came here, which is also cool and crazy because for a while YouTube was my main thing. It was rare that people would actually find me somewhere else. But TikTok for me was really important for kind of my next step as a creator online because I wanted to put more of myself into it. You know, I was making some of these kind of videos on YouTube, but most of my videos were cover arts of other songs, or it was the music videos of the songs I was mixing. I wanted people to know me as well, and I think it was a big step for me to kind of put myself into my content. After a year of studies, I had a lot more skills that I could apply, and with just how kind of awful COVID and quarantine were, it felt like it allowed me to have a lot more time to reflect and gave me just a lot more experience and things to write about. I felt like I just had a lot more time to process and understand my thoughts and turn them into music, which I felt like I could never do before. And that summer, I wrote my first ever official single as an artist called Over, and released it in October of 2020, which still love the song. And then throughout 2021, I kept working on original music, releasing more singles, trying to focus more on producing and songwriting, as well as doing mashups, because 2021 was also a big year for me with mashups and TikTok in general. Literally went to the VMAs, got nominated for Best Audio Mashup, which is still wild. They haven't done that again since that year, so it's kind of like a cool little flex. But then by the end of 2021, I was ready to release my debut album titled Main Character. If you've heard it, love y'all. Thank you so much for the support. Looking back, I definitely wish there were some things I would have done differently, but that's kind of just part of growing as an artist and a musician. And, you know, I'm grateful because now today I work a lot different than I did back then. And I have a lot more tools to aid in my process when it comes to producing and songwriting. One of those tools being Session Studios, which happened to be the sponsor of this video. Crazy, I know. Session Studio is a free app for any kind of musician, songwriter, producer, engineer, artist. It's basically an all-in-one hub for music creation from the conception to its release. I'm currently using Session Studio for some of the new songs that I'm working on, and it's really nice to not have to worry about going between different apps like my Notes app or my Files app or my Documents. It's just all in one place. If I go under the files for the track, you can see that it actually categorizes what type of file each one is, whether it's a bounce, a mix, or revision, which is really handy, especially if you're looking for a specific file of yours. The app was developed with collaboration in mind, so it is really easy to share ideas and work on projects in real time with other people. And say I have an idea for a song while I'm out and about and I'm not home, I can just record the idea with voice memos and then upload it straight to the folder on the mobile app. You can set up the credits for the track as well as the splits when it comes down to releasing. I think it's important that you do get that figured out, especially with putting music out in the public. It also offers an easy and direct way to release to SoundCloud and TuneCore. And another nice feature is that anyone that accepts the invite to the song gets placed in a group chat, so then you can just message all the people on the song about an update about a mix or a new version. They also have a playlist function that's very handy when it comes to organizing your own work and prepping it for sharing. For example, I have one of the master files as well as the performance tracks. That way I can just have them all in one place if I need to access them. And then anyone that I share the playlist with will have access to the files as well. They even have monthly songwriting competitions that you can enter just by submitting a song through Session Studio. Session Studio comes with 2 gigabytes of free cloud storage, but if you use my promo code Adamusic, you can get 3 months free of their creator tier, which gives you 500 gigabytes of cloud storage, which is crazy. I truly recommend Session Studio for any songwriter, producer, or artist because it truly is an app for musicians by musicians. Thank you, Session Studio, for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into it. I honestly kind of credit TikTok for the resurgence of mashups in mainstream media again. While they never went away, and you know, I've been doing them years and years before TikTok ever came about, mashups posted to TikTok could get millions of views and get millions of uses by other people. It was huge for the exposure of mashups, but they were also huge for the marketing of the songs themselves. TikTok was really nice for me because it could go hand in hand with my YouTube channel. I could post a mashup idea on TikTok and then post the full version on YouTube and then get people to come from both places. And it was cool for me too because I was able to have more of a connection with the people that listened to me because, you know, I was the face of it. It wasn't just like an invisible person. In some ways, I'm really thankful for TikTok because it kind of is the reason that I was able to turn making mashups into a career. That exposure led me to getting more jobs and being able to get a management team and be able to kind of pursue music and content creation as my living, which was a dream of mine, especially making mashups for 5 or 6 years at this point in my little bedroom in Michigan, like not making a single cent from everything. It was really cool to, you know, just have like that validation that I'm good enough now to make it a job. One of the cool things about my music school that I went to is that they had a lot of extra classes we could take, and one of them was actually a DJ class. But you know, I had DJ before technically, but it wasn't really DJing. It was a Spotify playlist. So I was really excited to actually learn how to DJ. To me, DJing is just live mashups, you know? DJing is just doing what I do, but on the spot, which, you know, is a whole nother level of like difficulty, but I knew it was something I wanted to pursue as the next step in taking what I do and bringing it to a live scene. And having the experience of making mashups helped me a lot with DJing because a lot of the concepts are the same. It's just a different form and medium of doing it. And I really spent the last 2 years practicing hard and trying to grow at it. And eventually went to the point where I was making, you know, little mashup videos in my bedroom to making them in a full DJ studio with professional grade, like CDJ equipment, which was a huge step for me as a DJ and just for my content, like aesthetically too. And that helped me start landing more gigs in LA, West Hollywood. I just got back from doing Kona Pride in Hawaii, which was once in a lifetime experience for me, truly. But, you know, it was just like we were having a mashup party. I just love DJing so much, especially when it is the music that I love and the mixes that I love, the mashups that I love. Feeling the energy in the room and have people bounce off of you and that energy transfer, like it's definitely a very euphoric feeling. And I can't really imagine now moving forward with my career without having that be a part of it, because I think Adamusic as a whole is not just confined to videos and, you know, audio. I think it also can become this live event, this live party, this live just experience with music. And I think that's kind of where I want to go from here. So long story, not short. That kind of brings us to today. And this year will be the 10th year on Megamix, which is so wild. I am so excited for it. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of plans. I've already started working on it, and I just have appreciated the support so much for every year that I've done it. And I think through that support, I have been able to do a lot more creative things with it and go out of the box that I originally started in. So I really hope you like this year's. It's gonna be a little different than normal, and there's some treats in there. So that's all I'll leave it at. I'm really grateful and excited to see just where this next decade goes. You know, I'm going to keep posting mashups like I do. I'm going to keep posting on TikTok and Reels. I'm starting to now do more gigs in LA. So if you are in the Los Angeles area, follow me on Instagram because I'll be posting all of my gigs. I am hosting a mashup party actually in West Hollywood this November. So keep your eyes out for that. And if you are in Southern California, let me know where I should travel to next. I went to Hawaii. I can go anywhere at this point. More original music will be coming. It's been forever. It's been over a year since my last song came out. And I just have been busy. I have a whole EP and a single that are on the way. They just been kind of sitting on the back burner, waiting for a good time to release. And also, you know, doing the promo for it and stuff. It's just taken some time. And if you are interested at all in the process of how I make mashups, how I make my year end, I actually posted a video last year. So if you want to watch how I make a year-end mashup, go check out that video. If you want to support me at all on Patreon, I post a bunch of exclusive mixes on there and behind-the-scenes content that doesn't go to YouTube or any other social media. So if you want to support me in any way, no pressure at all. But it's just a way to kind of get more content and support me at the same time. And yeah, thank you so much for just a decade of this. So fortunate, so lucky, so blessed to be able to do this for my job, and I'm excited to maybe down the line even tour with a mashup party, go around the country, around the world, you know, anything's possible. So here's to the next decade, I guess. Thank you, y'all. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for all your support.